For more now, we're joined by the head of Border Patrol, Chief Michael Banks. Chief, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Your agents were involved yesterday afternoon in the shooting in Portland. What is your understanding of what happened?
And so our agents were working targeted enforcement. There was one individual that had a known order of removal and another individual who was a target for being a criminal illegal alien in the United States. They conducted a traffic stop. Upon identifying themselves, they attempted to flee, and when they did, they targeted the agents with their vehicle, and an agent discharged his weapon to protect himself and the other agents around him.
Chief, are the two individuals that the officers shot expected to recover?
Yeah, as the last report from the hospital, both of them are expected to recover.
Okay, so what happens to them next?
And so there's warrants out for their arrest. So upon release of the hospital, they will be taken into custody and charged for assault on a federal agent.
Portland police say they only learned about the shooting after someone called 911. And Portland's mayor said recently, quote, "Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents." Can you elaborate a bit more about that collaboration, if any, happening between local police and the Border Patrol operating there in Portland?
So the United States Border Patrol enjoys working with all of our law enforcement partners. However, there are certain states where law enforcement refuses to work with us and will only respond after an incident has happened. In this case, Portland PD has been invited to work alongside of us in operations, and they've refused to participate under the argument that they don't participate in immigration enforcement. And so in this case, once the shots were fired, the individuals continued fleeing in the vehicle, and then later called and reported to 911 for medical assistance. And so the local police was notified when the shots were fired. But as far as participating in any operation we do, that is up to the local department of whether their policies or whether their state laws allow them to. I will say this in response to the mayor, there was no one there on a training operation. We were there on a law enforcement mission. We were targeted enforcement on known criminal illegal aliens that are in this country, and both of them have extensive legal history.
So your teams have reached out to Portland police and other local officials in trying to build on that partnership, and it hasn't happened?
Correct.
And this incident came one day after the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis. It has put, as you know, the country on edge. Now the Border Patrol had no role in that shooting and does not have any jurisdiction over ICE. But as a result, some local officials have stated additional concern over federal law enforcement presence in their cities. Is there any message you'd like to give communities across the country and folks who may be protesting this weekend?
Right. And so, look, you have a constitutional right to protest and to voice your opinion, and we respect that. What you don't have a right to do is impede or interfere or assault federal agents. And if you do, we will take the appropriate action and make the appropriate arrest and prosecution. What I think we really need to do in this country is we need to tone down the rhetoric. We need to stop making reference to federal law enforcement officers as murderers or as kidnapping people or disappearing people. We are enforcing the law. Now, whether a state or local policies don't agree with that law, that is for them to deal with. But as a federal government, we have the authority. We have an oath that we've taken to enforce the laws, and we're going to do those. We're going to do those professionally and humanely, but we are not going to be intimidated by local politicians or local individuals. And I think a lot of the rhetoric that's going on from a particular side of the aisle is encouraging this. When you're telling your constituents that federal agents are murdering people, they are Gestapos, they are, equivalent to a Nazi, you're encouraging them to go out and impede and to interfere with us, and then you act surprised when someone is arrested or someone is injured when they assault a federal agent.
We understand you're busy, so we certainly appreciate your time tonight. Border Patrol Chief Michael Banks, thank you so much.